Will Bitcoin break above 36,000, continuing the overall macro uptrend, or are we going to see a correction from this range high? Let's go ahead and jump into the charts. Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you're all having a fantastic day today. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin's short-term price action, as well as the most important levels you should be watching on the current range to identify whether or not Bitcoin is going to continue upwards or correct downwards. Before we get into it, smash that like button, hit that comment button, and subscribe to the channel. We post daily videos for Bitcoin focusing on the facts, the data, the technical and structural information, and the relevant economic news. No hype, no BS, no emotion, pure raw TA. If that is the kind of content you are interested in, join us on Telegram. It is the third link down below. You will get access to charts, updates, videos, educational posts, news events, and everything you need to stay in the loop with cryptocurrency, with Bitcoin, and the relevant economic news. If you are interested in joining our VIP group, we post trading setups with exact entries, exact targets, exact stop losses, trade justification, exclusive analysis, and so much more. Again, you'll also get access to our group chats, our general chat, our trading chart and education chat, our setup chat, our news chat, our video chat, and our help chat. If you're interested in joining over 600 members in the VIP group, go ahead and contact me in the pinned comment of the free channel for more info. Let's go ahead and dive right in, starting on the market data. How are we currently looking, guys? So 24-hour volumes up 30.24%, sitting at a total of 95 billion. Overall liquidations are up a whopping 61%, sitting at a massive 139 million. Of those $139 million in liquidations, we can see a total amount of 54 million in shorts and 84 million in long liquidation. So pretty intense stuff. Looking at the price action, we can see some very aggressive chop has occurred within the last 24 hours. Again, we have been traveling within this higher time frame, short time frame horizontal range for the past 3 days. We saw a retest of the bottom side again, liquidating a lot of long positions that were taken up in these ranges over here on these breakouts, but more importantly, trapping a lot of late shorters, only for the price to push all the way back upwards, breaking through that range high, actually continuing to retest that upper level of resistance in this $36,000 range, breaking above that trigger point represented by this horizontal line, resulting in a whole heap of short liquidations, only to correct on the short term again, resulting in a whole heap of long liquidations. So it's been very choppy, it's been all over the place, and in reality, if we take a look at Bitcoin over the last 2 weeks, we haven't done all that much. If you really think about what has happened, we haven't retested 32K, we haven't broke over this local high point. Okay, this is still going to be a trigger resistance. All we have been doing is pushing sideways in a slow grind upwards while altcoins have been moving. So for Bitcoin, it hasn't been too eventful. There's been a whole lot of chop, a whole lot of indecision, a whole lot of false breaks and breakdowns, and overall it's just been an absolute fiesta for liquidations in terms of both longs and short positions. This is what we call a classic leverage trap. Moving over into the volume and of course the overall volatility, we can see on the 30 and 60-day period volatility index over here, we are starting to see a little bit more movement. On the 30, we are starting to push sideways once more, matching that price action, which again is an indication of consolidation, potentially compression. And again, when we do see that volatility index move again, we will then see that price action shoot. So we are expecting quite a strong move now actually developing within this cluster of consolidation. Moving over to the 60-day period, we are expecting a similar kind of scenario over here. Again, slightly pushing sideways, a little bit of a downturn over here, but nothing too unexpected for the 60-day period. Moving over to the DXY, the DXY actually found support on the inverted parabolic curve represented by this blue line. With that, we saw a little bit of a bounce again, retesting that 50 EMA. We do need to see a break above this local low. If we take a look at this price structure over here, This local low, of course, is going to be our resistance. This is a horizontal range with deviation above. We retested it numerous times. We retested it numerous times on the bottom. We have broken down. We have come up and retested it. So right now we are still in an overall uptrend according to this parabolic curve. We are still in this level of support. If we do break back below this parabolic curve, I would then expect the DXY to come all the way down, potentially 104. If we are able to break back above this horizontal resistance, we could see the DXY push back up to retest the range high. As of right now, short-term resistance is resistance until it is not, and therefore we actually are expecting a little bit of a pullback for the DXY. Moving over to the stock market, the S&P 500 is still challenging that uptrending level of resistance. We're not going to comment too much over here today. We can see that uptrending level of resistance has been acting as a resistance for quite some time, as well as a support for quite some time, around 300 plus days. We have now retested that to the top side one more time. If we do fail to break above this level, we are expecting a continuation lower. However, if we are able to get above this local high, which is going to be around 4,400, we could actually expect the S&P 500 to continue upwards. So we are testing resistance now. Wait to see what happens. Don't act too rationally on that. As for the Dow Jones, a pretty similar position, but it is looking a little bit better than the S&P right now, as we have broken over this neckline level of resistance. We are currently just testing above over here to see if we can find support. Again, a lot does rest on the DXY. If the DXY continues upwards, we potentially will see a correction over here. The DXY continues downwards, we're very likely to see a continuation upwards. Let's go ahead, guys, and jump into Bitcoin. I wanted to briefly interrupt today's video to discuss the two exchanges we use on this channel, Bitget and BingX. So which exchange should you sign up to? If you look to the right hand side of the screen, you're going to see the list of differences in relation to KYC requirements and the countries these exchanges offer services to. The first link down below being the Bitget link, and the second link down below being the BingX link. No matter which link you sign up to, you're going to get up to 15% discounts on your trading fees, up to $5,000 in trading rewards, and of course, you'll get access to every single MegaWhale exclusive bonus campaign we run on these exchanges. Alongside that, Bitget and BingX are incredibly similar. They are both ranked top 10 in terms of trading volume. They both have extensive liquidity pools and market pairs offering up to 125x leverage. And most importantly, they both offer protection funds for their users to protect you against any third-party hacks. So get started now and support the channel by clicking the links below. Thanks for listening. So, starting on the smaller time frame, let's discuss what is happening with this range, and let's discuss the most important levels you should be watching out for and what these levels actually mean for the price action. So let's go ahead and just collapse these indicators for just one moment. If we take a look at this range of price action, what we are seeing is, of course, a nice, strong, slow grind upwards, but more or less horizontal consolidation that's been lasting around about 15 days. And this is ever since around the 24th of October. We've been pushing sideways with a slight uptrend represented by this uptrending trend line. So first and foremost, we can identify this uptrending trend line is representing the overall trajectory of price action, but more importantly, the trend of price action within the range between the upper level of resistance, which is marked out by this horizontal line at around 36,000. We'll go ahead and put it up a little bit higher, around 36,000, okay? And the base of support, which is going to be this level at 33,350, okay? Also at 33,350. This uptrending trend line represents the trajectory of price action moving between these two levels. Okay, we've identified that. Therefore, if we lose this uptrending support line, we could then expect a continuation in the price action back to retest these lows. These lows sitting at 33,350. Okay, so first and foremost, watching this trend line. If you see this trend line breakdown, if you see us lose this trend line, that is going to be confirmation that the uptrend that we've been developing over the last 2 weeks has been lost, and we'll be entering a short-term downtrend, expecting the short-term downtrend to take us to this lower area of support. Now, if you do want to check your bias, go ahead and just flip the chart. If we invert the scale, you can see this is a very clear downtrend, right? When we break out of downtrends, we generally move upward, right? So the same thing we have to assume would occur when we invert the chart back to normal. This is going to be an uptrend, and when we break below the uptrend, we enter a downtrend. So that is going to be the most important level you should be watching on the diagonal scale in terms of overall trend trajectory. The next two important levels you should be watching are our trigger points. If we take a look at the VRPV, which is again the horizontal scale over here on the side, it represents total collective volume for buys and sell orders over a specific time frame on a horizontal scale. So it doesn't represent it on a candlestick scale. Candlestick scale would be a vertical scale. You see the volume bars kind of like at the bottom over here, okay? It represents at these particular levels of price on a horizontal level, how much orders, how much buying, how much selling is actually occurring at these levels. So of course, more buying, more selling indicates greater amounts of volume. If we have large areas of chunks of volume, it generally represents these areas are areas of demand and could be areas where volatility will be reduced. And if we do see reduced volatility and we have increased orders, we can identify these levels as areas of resistance. So what we can say over here is when the price action falls below, go ahead and draw it out, falls below around about this level, we're looking around 3,400, so 34,000. When we lose 34,000, we enter this area of a lower resistance, okay? That is going to take us down to 33,550, 33,350. I keep mumbling on that number, I don't know why. If we do drop below over here, we'll be expecting a short-term correction to 34,000. If we do lose 34,000, we enter a low historical range of resistance, which will take us to 33,350. Here is the most important thing. 33,350 is going to be a bearish trigger, okay, for a high time frame correction, potentially as low as 30,600 according to our VRPV structure. Definitely keep that in mind. So this is point number 2. Remember, point number 1, most important point, is the diagonal trend line. Point number 2 is going to be the range low, okay? This is going to be the bearish trigger. And point number 3 is going to be the bullish trigger. If we take a look at the bullish trigger, the upper range of resistance, we can see a break above this level is going to clear these local high points, will result in a continuation upwards. It does look like we are forming some sort of ascending triangle formation. An ascending triangle formation is a bullish structure. Therefore, if we do break up from this level, we could potentially see a relatively large move for Bitcoin, potentially to around $38,000. So I'd be definitely watching out for a break of around 36,000, maybe around 35,980. If we do break above that level, that is going to be the bullish trigger to validate a macro continuation upward for Bitcoin. So on the short term, guys, those are the most important levels you need to be keeping an eye on if you want to catch the next impulse for Bitcoin. Let's go ahead and break it down to an even small time frame, and then we'll go to the higher time frame charts. If we go down to a very small time frame over here, we can take a look at this level. And if you've been following the channel for the last couple of days, you would know we identified this level as a bullish trigger point. We said if we break above this level, we will likely see a strong move upwards, which we did see. We broke above that level and we saw a nice 1.8% move toward the upside. This level is now acting as a support. In fact, we have a very clear and very obvious horizontal consolidation that occurred from this range. We'll go ahead and draw our lows in over here. We can see we had a horizontal consolidation breaking into a channel, retesting lows, retesting highs, retesting highs, retesting lows, broke out of the channel, continued toward the upside. Now the price action in the short term is coming back to retest the lows point, the high point of this channel as support. On the short term, Bitcoin is expected to continue upwards, provided we can remain above this level. If Bitcoin fails to hold this level as support, fails to bounce from this level, we can then expect a continuation all the way back down to retest these range lows, liquidating all of the late longs that entered in this range. So what are we kind of telling you right over here? The most important thing you should take away from this short-term price action right now is do absolutely not chase the market. If you missed a move, you missed a move. It is okay. The market is not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. Tomorrow's a new day full of fresh new opportunities. There is absolutely no rush to be trading, and you shouldn't rush yourself when it comes to making money, particularly in the market, as a rush decision could actually put you behind. So take your time. If you didn't catch your lows for longs, if you didn't catch over here for shorts, if you didn't break out over here and enter a long on the breakout, and you're looking at the price action now thinking, I'm going to be late, I'm worried, take a step backwards. The moment you let emotions come in control, whether it be fear, okay, fear of missing out, whether it be greed, as in you want to make more profit, you don't want to close your positions, the moment you allow those emotions to infest your mind and take control of your decisions, that is the moment you need to look at your positions, take a step back and decide, maybe it's time to take profit. Maybe it's time to close my trade, okay? Any emotion, whether it be a good emotion, such as euphoria, such as feeling unstoppable, whether it be a bad emotion, such as depression, such as, feeling like you're absolutely wrecked, feeling like you're going to be late for every move. Regardless of the emotion, every emotion in trading should be considered a massive red alarm bell. It should be a warning. An emotion is a warning that is triggered when we are exceeding our risk capacity. Okay, I'll say it again. An emotion is a situation, okay, a thought, whatever, a feeling that occurs when we are exceeding our risk capacity in trading. Whether it be a good emotion, such as euphoria, you're generally exceeding your risk capacity, you're making more than you expected because you took a larger risk than you intended, therefore, that was a bad decision, okay? So keep that in mind, guys, when trading. Let's go ahead and take a look at the technicals on the 4-hour and then move over to the high time frame chart. So we'll go ahead and bring up some of these technical indicators. We've got OBV over here, which is on balance volume, which is a pretty important one. And we've got our market cipher B, and we'll go ahead and also bring up our RSI divergence indicator. So let's go ahead and quickly adjust these settings for this one. I like to personally have a little bit of a higher look back period on my RSIs, just so we don't get these small little divergences. We catch these large divergences a little bit easier. So OBV is falling. Of course, we do want to see OBV break upwards, okay? If we do break above here and we do not see OBV break upwards, that is going to be a sign of exhaustion, a sign of weakness. We definitely want to see OBV break upwards. If OBV breaks upwards, that is going to be a strong indicator of strength. We will likely continue upwards. The RSI is looking a little bit better, okay? If we take a look at the RSI over here and draw in our trend line, we can actually see we saw that breakout of the RSI a few hours ago, which is, again, an indication that momentum is flipping positive. If you want a visual representation of that, you can look at the market cipher B, and you can see that green dot, okay? And that green dot over here above the 0 point is an indication momentum has flipped positive. It is not massively positive, but it is positive nevertheless. So right now, Bitcoin is looking relatively good, okay? It's looking relatively good. Let's go ahead and jump over to high time frame charts. So as we've said already, this upward accumulation, and it definitely is some degree of accumulation, as we are seeing again, bearish absorption decrease. The representation of the falling RSI, okay, generally represents falling momentum. When we see falling momentum and we see rising price action, that is most of the time, okay, in this instance, not when we see these high points, okay, we have bearish divergence of exhaustion, we see these low points, okay, this generally represents bearish absorption. So we are seeing some degree of bearish absorption over here happening, and that will continue while the price action remains above this trend line. If we do lose our trend line, like we said already, we expect a large correction. Until then, it does look like we are grinding upwards. If we start to break over these high points, we are very likely to continue toward that upside, okay? Definitely watch out for that, guys. A big move is very likely to come for Bitcoin. And we're telling you, while we're within this range, it is very hard to say with absolute certainty where Bitcoin is going. Therefore, the best thing to do is to monitor the short term, okay? Don't overtrade the short term. Don't chase moves in the short term because of how choppy it is. But more or less, watch the trigger points and wait for the trigger points to validate. We see breakdowns over here, we expect continuations. We see break-ups over here, we expect continuations upwards. We see a break over here, expect a continuation upwards, okay? When in doubt, zoom out. There is no rush, okay? There's no urgency when it comes to Bitcoin. Bitcoin only moves a few percent at a time anyway at best, okay? Not really missing out on much if you're an investor anyway, okay? Be patient. Okay, be objective, be realistic. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Cheers.